How's it going, everybody? Pozermobil here, and today we're doing something a little different. Over the past couple weeks, I've been diving deep into the massive PlayStation Store summer sale, breaking down the best deals, hidden gems, bundles, premium editions, the whole thing. But with so many videos and hundreds of games covered, I know it can be tough to keep track of everything. It is for me anyway. So this video is your one-stop shop for everything I've recommended. The greatest hits of the summer sale all in one place and just in time before the deals wrap up in the next 24 hours. I can't do timestamps for every single game. I actually started running into the character limit for a YouTube description, but I've got timestamps for the different price points so you can jump between those if you want. Or just let it play, and if something I'm talking about piques your interest, you can grab it. Maybe think of this as the first wave of the summer sale podcast. Whether you missed a few videos or just want the ultimate recap, this is the video for you, so that's enough yapping from me. Let's get into the video. The 2005 edition of Resident Evil 4 is just $4.99 and remains one of the most influential survival horror games of all time. You play as Leon Kennedy on a mission to rescue the president's daughter from a mysterious cult in a remote Spanish village. The over-the-shoulder aiming revolutionized third-person shooters, and its blend of tense horror and explosive action still holds up beautifully. The pacing is impeccable, with escalating stakes, massive boss battles, and unforgettable set pieces. It's a 96 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. TimeSplitters 2 is just $2.49 and still one of the most beloved first-person shooters from the early 2000s. Featuring time-hopping missions, local multiplayer mayhem, and a quirky sense of humor, it's a nostalgia-packed ride through space, zombies, spies, and more. The creative level design and fast-paced combat keep it incredibly fun even today. It's a must-play for fans of couch co-op or anyone nostalgic for the golden age of split-screen shooters. It's a 90 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 8 hours to platinum. What Remains of Edith Finch is $4.99 and one of the most memorable narrative games ever made. You explore the Finch family home, reliving the final moments of each relative through beautifully crafted vignettes. Each story is told with a unique gameplay twist that ties into the character's life and death. It's an emotional, sometimes surreal experience that stays with you long after the credits roll. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 2 hours to platinum. A Short Hike is just $4.39, and it's exactly what the title promises. A charming, relaxing hike up a mountain with plenty of secrets to discover along the way. You play as a little bird named Claire, exploring the island, helping other characters, and collecting upgrades at your own pace. It's a bite-sized open world with a ton of heart and atmosphere, and the gliding mechanics are incredibly soothing. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 4 hours to platinum. Torchlight 2 is $3.99 and an excellent action RPG that still holds up thanks to its satisfying loot grind and colorful art style. Choose from 4 unique classes and dive into randomly generated dungeons filled with monsters and loot. It's great solo or in co-op, and the pet system adds a unique twist that makes inventory management a breeze. With tons of build variety and post-game content, it delivers serious bang for your buck. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 65 hours to platinum. Owlboy is $4.99 and a stunning indie platformer that took nearly a decade to make. You play as Otis, a mute owlboy who soars through a pixel art world, fighting sky pirates and uncovering lost truths. The flight mechanics are smooth and intuitive, and the heartfelt story explores themes of failure, friendship, and heroism. Its gorgeous visuals and emotive soundtrack make Owlboy a true standout in the indie platformer genre. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 10 hours to platinum. Guacamelee Super Turbo Championship Edition is $3.74 and a hilarious, fast-paced Metroidvania set in a colorful world inspired by Mexican folklore. You play as a luchador who can suplex skeletons and punch through dimensions in a quest to save the world. The combat is tight and combo-heavy, and the platforming gets satisfyingly difficult by the end. Plus, the co-op mode makes it a blast with a friend. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Vampire Survivors is $3.74 and a roguelike auto shooter that has become a modern indie classic. You pick a character, grab upgrades, and try to survive increasingly hectic waves of monsters in 30-minute runs. It's deceptively simple but wildly addictive, with tons of unlocks, secrets, and a surprising amount of strategy. It's perfect for both bite-sized sessions and full-blown marathons. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Turok 2 Seeds of Evil is $4.99 and a remastered version of the brutal N64 era FPS. You'll battle dinosaurs and aliens with some of the weirdest and most satisfying weapons in shooter history. Yes, including the cerebral boar. The remaster smooths out performance and visuals while keeping the over-the-top fun of the original intact. It's a wild, nostalgic relic that's absolutely worth revisiting. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Tangle Tower is $3.99 and a quirky, hand-drawn murder mystery full of puzzles, sharp writing, and charming characters. You play as Detective Grimoire, solving a locked room mystery in a spooky old manor. It's a great pick for fans of point-and-click adventures or anyone who loves clever narrative puzzles. The voice acting and animations add a lot of charm and personality to every interaction. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 3 hours to finish with no platinum. Manifold Garden is $3.99 and one of the most mind-bending puzzle games you'll ever play. Set in a world of impossible architecture, you manipulate gravity to navigate endlessly repeating structures. With a striking, minimalistic art style, it teaches you its gravity-defying logic entirely without dialogue. It's meditative, smart, and deeply original. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 8 hours to platinum. Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun is $3.99 and a brilliant stealth tactics game set in Edo period Japan. You control a team of assassins, each with unique abilities, and carefully coordinate your moves to outsmart enemies in sprawling maps. It's incredibly satisfying when a plan comes together perfectly, or when you pull off a last-second save after things go sideways. A must-play if you like games like Commandos or Desperados. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. The 2015 version of the original Resident Evil is just $4.99 right now, and for that price you're getting a survival horror classic that's been beautifully remastered. This is the definitive version of the 2002 GameCube remake of the original Resident Evil, and it still holds up incredibly well thanks to its creepy fixed camera angles, tense pacing, and the satisfying puzzle-solving loop. The mansion setting remains one of the most iconic in gaming, and even if you've played it before, the remastered visuals and polished controls make it well worth revisiting. The eerie soundtrack and excellent sound design still create a palpable tension that keeps you on edge throughout, so it's an absolute must-play for fans of the genre or anyone who wants to see where modern survival horror began. It's a 91 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Ollie Ollie World is also going for just $4.99, and it's easily one of the most creative skateboarding games in years. This one trades realism for wild color, flow-state gameplay, and branching paths full of secrets and challenges. The story is charming and silly, and while it starts off simple, the depth of the combo system gets wild in the later levels. Even when you wipe out, the game encourages quick resets and experimentation that make progression really addictive. If you want a platformer that rewards perfect timing and experimentation with its slick, fast-paced movement, this one's a total standout. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Telling Lies is down to $4.99 as well, and this is a fantastic pick if you're in the mood for something different. It's a narrative mystery told entirely through full-motion video. You'll search through hours of secretly recorded clips to piece together the truth about a group of people connected by one big lie. The performances are genuinely strong, and the non-linear way you uncover the story makes it feel really personal and immersive. It almost plays like a digital jigsaw puzzle where context is everything and every detail matters. It's great for a single-session weekend game or a chill evening on the couch. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 3 hours to platinum. Frostpunk Console Edition is just $4.49, and it's one of the most punishing but rewarding city builders you'll ever play. This isn't your standard resource management game. You're trying to lead a frozen colony through a desperate survival scenario where every choice can be morally brutal. Do you introduce child labor to keep things running? Do you use propaganda to maintain order? The branching laws and bleak tone make every run intense. The game nails its post-apocalyptic atmosphere with haunting visuals and a cold, oppressive soundtrack that drives the tension home. It's tough, but if you like survival sims with ethical gray zones and strategic depth, it's a must-play. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 9 out of 10, and around 100 hours to platinum. Gorogoa is currently $4.49, and this is one of those short but unforgettable puzzle games that just oozes style. It's all about manipulating panels like a comic book, zooming in, combining them, rotating things in really clever ways to solve spatial logic puzzles. It tells a surprisingly deep story with 0 words entirely through its art and interactions. The experience is peaceful and contemplative, making it perfect for a relaxing evening of puzzle solving. Great for players who love smart design, beautiful hand-drawn visuals, and a meditative vibe. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 2 hours to platinum. Darkest Dungeon is going for just $3.74, and it remains one of the most brutally hard turn-based strategy RPGs ever made. The stress and sanity mechanics add a whole new dimension to dungeon crawling, and the art style is grim, gritty, and unforgettable. You'll need to manage a rotating cast of flawed heroes and accept that not all of them will survive. The narration is iconic and adds a ton of character to each run, making your victories feel truly earned. This is for fans of games like XCOM who want something more psychological and punishing. It's not for the faint of heart, but if it hooks you, you'll be obsessed. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 8 out of 10, and around 80 hours to platinum. Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor Game of the Year Edition is just $4.99, and this is the best version of one of the most underrated open-world action games from the PS4 era. The Nemesis system still feels fresh today. Enemies remember you, evolve, and change over time. The combat is slick and responsive, very Arkham style, and the story fills in a cool gap in Tolkien lore between The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. The upgrade tree and ability customization also give you a good sense of progression without bogging the game down. Plus, this edition includes all the DLC, so it's the full package. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Timesplitter's Future Perfect is down to $2.49, which is wild for one of the most beloved cult shooters from the PS2 era. This one's full of fast-paced shooting, ridiculous weapons, and some of the most fun and varied level design of its generation. It doesn't take itself seriously, with plenty of time travel hijinks and a tongue-in-cheek tone, but it delivers satisfying gunplay and solid challenge. The game's humor and voice acting still hold up surprisingly well, adding charm to its tight mechanics. It's a great nostalgia trip for older fans or a fun history lesson for newcomers. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Grease is $3.39 and is easily one of the most beautiful games you'll ever play, visually, emotionally, and sonically. It's a short platformer with light puzzle elements, but what really stands out is the watercolor art style and the story told purely through animation and music. It's about processing grief, but in a hopeful, uplifting way. The game evolves its visuals and mechanics as the narrative unfolds, creating a deeply cohesive experience. Even if you don't usually play artsy games, this one's accessible and powerful. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 5 hours to platinum. Yoku's Island Express is going for just $3.99, and this one's a totally unique mashup of Metroidvania exploration and pinball mechanics. You're a dung beetle postman rolling your way across a colorful island, flipping through bumpers and slingshots to reach new areas. It's quirky, cheerful, and endlessly creative. The music and vibe are upbeat and relaxing, making this a perfect pick for laid-back gaming sessions. If you want something lighthearted and different, this one's a sleeper hit. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 10 hours to platinum. Zero Escape, Zero Time Dilemma is $3.99 and closes out one of the most gripping visual novel trilogies in gaming. You're thrown into a locked room death game scenario with branching paths, wild plot twists, and puzzles that tie directly into the story. You don't need to have played the first 2 games, but it definitely helps for full context. Still, even on its own, it's a fascinating narrative experience. The voice acting and branching timeline mechanics make every choice impactful, giving it a ton of replay value. Perfect for fans of Danganronpa or 999. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Resident Evil 5 is back down to $4.99, and while it's more action-heavy than earlier Resident Evil entries, it's still a blast, especially in co-op. The Africa setting, punchy gunplay, and over-the-top set pieces give it a different flavor, but there's still a lot of classic Resident Evil DNA here. It's especially fun if you team up with a friend, though solo is totally fine too. The replay value is strong thanks to unlockables, multiple difficulties, and some truly memorable boss fights. Definitely underrated if you ask me. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Dishonored Definitive Edition is down to just $4.99 right now, and this version includes the full base game and all the DLC for one of the most beloved stealth action hybrids of the last generation. You play as Corvo, an assassin with supernatural abilities, sneaking and slashing your way through a plague-ridden steampunk city where your choices dramatically affect the story. Whether you go full ghost or full chaos, the gameplay loop is super satisfying, and the world is packed with lore, secrets, and multiple approaches for every objective. If you've never played this arcane classic or just want to revisit it, this is the perfect time. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Resident Evil 0 is also hitting its lowest price ever at $4.99, and this one serves as a prequel to the original game, giving you a look at the nightmare that began it all. It features a unique partner zapping mechanic where you switch between two characters to solve puzzles and manage resources. It's got classic survival horror vibes, inventory stress, and a slower pace that rewards planning. If you're into older school Resident Evil or just want a cool origin story, this is worth checking out, especially for $5. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Runbow is an awesome little party platformer that you can grab for $2.99, and it's one of those games that's super simple in concept, but surprisingly deep when you're chasing trophies or playing competitively. The gimmick is that the background color is constantly changing, and any platform that matches the background disappears. It turns even basic jumps into tense timing puzzles. There's a full single-player campaign, lots of characters to unlock, and a ton of multiplayer chaos if you've got friends to play with locally. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Time Splitters, the PS2 era classic, is back on PS4 for just $2.49, and it's a fantastic pick for retro shooter fans. This is one of those games that helped define the early 2000s with its wacky characters, time-hopping story, and lightning-fast FPS mechanics. The game holds up surprisingly well with its solid controls and creative level design, and it includes local multiplayer if you want to relive some split-screen mayhem. I've actually got a full trophy guide on the channel already for it, so definitely check that out if you pick it up. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 5 hours to platinum. Paradise Killer is $4.99, and this one is truly in a league of its own, a murder mystery wrapped in a surreal open-world detective sim. You explore a vaporwave island filled with eccentric gods, investigate a locked-room murder, and ultimately decide who you think is guilty based on your findings. It's non-linear, deeply stylish, and incredibly weird in the best way, with a killer soundtrack and vibrant aesthetic that set it apart from anything else. If you're into games like Danganronpa or Ace Attorney, you'll love the freedom this gives you. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Tales of Iron is going for just $4.99 right now, and this one mixes brutal, Souls-like combat with a gorgeous, hand-drawn art style and a storybook presentation narrated by Doug Cockle, the voice of Geralt. You play as a rat prince reclaiming his kingdom from the brutal Frog clan, and while it looks like a cutesy indie at first glance, the combat has real teeth. Precise dodging, blocking, and stamina management are all key. There's a deep crafting system and solid RPG progression too, making this a hidden gem for fans of action RPGs. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Slime San Super Slime Edition is only $1.49, and it's an awesome pick if you're into twitchy, precision platformers like Super Meat Boy. It's got over 100 levels, tight controls, and a weirdly gross aesthetic where you're literally platforming inside a giant worm's digestive system. The Super Slime Edition includes all the bonus campaigns too, adding a ton of value for the price. If you're chasing a hardcore challenge with fast respawns and speedrunning potential, this one delivers. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Minute is going for just $1.99, and it's a super clever little Zelda-style adventure where you only have 60 seconds to explore before you die and respawn. That might sound annoying, but it's actually a brilliant design that forces you to think efficiently and make progress in tiny chunks. You slowly open up the world, solve puzzles, and find shortcuts, and the whole thing is packed with charm and mystery. It's a short game, but an incredibly tight and satisfying one. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 5 hours to platinum. Injustice: Gods Among Us Ultimate Edition is just $4.99 and a fantastic pickup for any DC fan or fighting game enthusiast. This version includes all the DLC characters and costumes, so you've got a full roster right out the gate. The story mode is surprisingly great, set in a dark alternate universe where Superman goes rogue, and the combat system is accessible but deep enough to reward mastery. Whether you're button mashing or labbing combos, there's a lot to enjoy here, especially with all the single-player content. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 9 out of 10, and around 90 hours to platinum. Natsuki Chronicles is a hidden gem at just 99 cents. It's a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up from the makers of Ginga Force with deep customization and a surprisingly solid narrative. You can tweak your loadouts before each mission and upgrade your weapons based on your playstyle, which adds a nice layer of strategy. The visuals are clean, the music is great, and it's way more beginner-friendly than most shmups. It even has branching paths and score-chasing potential if you want to dig deeper. It's an 80 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 10 hours to platinum. LEGO Marvel Superheroes is down to just $4.99, and it's still one of the best LEGO games ever made. You get to play as a huge roster of Marvel heroes in a charming open-world New York City, mixing platforming, puzzles, and co-op combat with classic LEGO humor. The campaign is surprisingly lengthy, and there's a ton of side content if you're going for 100%, especially if you're hunting for every brick and character. Great for families or just Marvel fans who want something lighthearted. It's an 80 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Wonder Boy: The Dragon's Trap is also going for $4.99, and this one's a gorgeous remake of the classic Sega Master System game. It blends classic platforming and light Metroidvania elements with modern visuals and audio. You can even switch back to the original graphics and soundtrack at any time. It's short, sweet, and surprisingly polished, and the transformation mechanic where your character becomes different animals adds variety to the gameplay. It's an easy recommendation if you like retro games with a fresh coat of paint. It's a 79 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 10 hours to platinum. Alan Wake Remastered is down to just $4.49, and if you've never played this cult classic horror game, there's no better time to jump in. You play as a struggling writer searching for his missing wife in a small town plagued by supernatural darkness, and the storytelling is full of intense, cinematic moments that still hold up incredibly well. The gameplay mixes exploration, puzzles, and tense combat with a light-based mechanic that keeps you constantly on edge, and the remastered visuals really make the atmosphere pop. It's one of those games where the more you uncover, the deeper the mystery gets, and it builds suspense in all the right ways. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Alba, a wildlife adventure, is only $1.99 right now, and it's one of the most wholesome games on the entire sale. You play as a young girl on a sunny Mediterranean island trying to save the local wildlife, and the game's simple visuals and relaxing music make for an incredibly chill experience. It's filled with exploration, photography, and light mission objectives, and it's perfect if you're looking for something low-stress and heartwarming. There's also a strong environmental message that never feels preachy, and the whole thing is short enough to complete in a single evening. It's a 79 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and about 3 hours to finish, no platinum for this one. Everspace is just $2.99, and if you like space combat with roguelite elements, you'll definitely want to check this one out. Each run has you piloting a starfighter through randomly generated sectors, picking up loot, upgrading your ship, and trying to survive long enough to uncover the story. The visuals are surprisingly great for an indie title, and the soundtrack does a fantastic job of creating a sense of isolation and scale. It also features a satisfying loop of risk versus reward that gets better as you unlock permanent upgrades. It's a 79 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. The Metronomicon Slay the Dance Floor Deluxe Edition is on sale for just $4.99, and this one's a rhythm RPG hybrid that totally caught me off guard with how fun it is. You control a party of heroes by hitting notes in time with the music, and each character's actions are tied to their individual rhythm lanes. The game has a goofy tone and a killer soundtrack with songs from Jimmy Urine, Shiny Toy Guns, and more, which keeps things light and energetic. It's also got surprisingly deep strategy when it comes to timing your attacks and healing, especially on the harder difficulties. It's a 79 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Dead Rising 2 is back on sale for $4.99, and if you've got a soft spot for chaotic zombie brawlers, this one still delivers. You play as Chuck Green, a former motocross rider turned survivor who's got 72 hours to find a cure for his daughter and uncover the truth behind the outbreak. The game's signature combo weapon system lets you craft ridiculous tools of destruction like electric pitchforks or paddle chainsaws, and it's just as entertaining now as it was in 2010. You'll also need to manage time carefully to juggle main missions, side quests, and optional survivors, and that urgency adds a nice layer of pressure. It's a 79 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 60 hours to platinum. AI The Somnium Files is down to just $3.99, and it's a narrative-heavy mystery adventure from the creators of the Zero Escape series. You play as a detective using futuristic dream-diving tech to solve bizarre murders, and the story is full of twists, alternate timelines, and really clever puzzles. It's a very text-heavy game, but the writing is sharp and often surprisingly funny, with great characters that really grow on you. Each dream world is a surreal puzzle box where logic often takes a back seat to emotional resonance, which makes them stand out from anything else. It's a 78 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Mountain Blade Warband is $4.99 right now, and while it's definitely a little rough around the edges, it's one of the most ambitious sandbox RPGs you can play on console. You start with nothing, build up a mercenary band, and eventually carve out your own kingdom through diplomacy, trade, and massive battles. The combat system has a steep learning curve, but rewards timing and positioning, especially during large-scale cavalry fights. There's also a lot of freedom in how you want to approach the game, whether as a noble lord or a ruthless raider. It's a 78 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 70 hours to platinum. Blasphemous is only $4.99, and this brutal 2D action platformer mixes religious iconography, punishing difficulty, and beautiful pixel art. You play as the Penitent One, a silent warrior in a cursed world filled with grotesque enemies and hidden lore, and it's a hauntingly memorable setting. Combat is weighty and precise, with a strong focus on spacing, dodging, and punishing mistakes, and the bosses are as creative as they are relentless. The game also has tons of hidden areas and lore to discover if you're willing to explore every dark corner. It's a 77 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Scourgebringer is just $1.69, and it's an insanely fast-paced roguelite that blends wall-jumping platforming with hack-and-slash combat. You play as a warrior sent to destroy an ancient machine threatening your world, but the story mostly takes a backseat to the frantic, kinetic action. Every room feels like a combat puzzle, and mastering the dash, slash, and combo system is super satisfying once it clicks. It's got a thumping synth soundtrack and slick art style that give it a ton of character despite the minimalist storytelling. It's a 76 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 7 hours to platinum. Eldest Souls is on sale for $3.99, and this one's for the hardcore boss rush fans out there who want a real challenge. The pixel art is gorgeous, and each boss fight feels like a puzzle in motion where you'll die a lot but always learn something new. The combat is based on tight stamina management and aggressive offense, which rewards players who like a high-risk, high-reward playstyle. The lore is cryptic and bleak, echoing Souls-style world building, and there's even some build variety through skill trees and shards. It's a 76 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 8 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Mortal Shell Enhanced Edition is down to $2.99, and this is a great pick if you're looking for a shorter, slightly more forgiving take on the Souls formula. You inhabit the bodies of fallen warriors, each with different abilities and playstyles, which adds a cool layer of strategy to how you tackle different encounters. The parry and harden mechanics add a unique rhythm to combat, and the atmosphere is dense with mystery and decay. It's not the longest game, but it's tight and satisfying with great boss fights and a strong visual identity. It's a 76 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Fury Unleashed is $1.99 right now, and it's a roguelite action platformer set inside a living comic book with bold visuals and combo-driven gameplay. You'll blast your way through procedurally generated panels while chaining kills to boost damage and healing, which gives the game a fun momentum-based flow. There's also co-op support, tons of unlockables, and a wide range of weapons and skills to experiment with. The story is about a struggling comic book artist confronting self-doubt, which gives the game a surprisingly personal emotional core. It's a 76 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 35 hours to platinum. The Quake 1 and 2 bundle is available for just $5.99 and bundles together two of the most influential first-person shooters in gaming history, both fully remastered for modern platforms. These games helped define the FPS genre back in the 90s with fast-paced gameplay, intense multiplayer, and signature dark sci-fi aesthetics. This bundle includes all expansions and offers updated graphics and online play, so whether you're a longtime fan or new to classic shooters, this is a fantastic value. Quake 1 is a 92 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 35 hours to platinum, while Quake 2 is an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 6 hours to platinum if you use shortcuts, around 25 hours if you play it normally. Persona 4 Golden is on sale for $9.99 and remains one of the best JRPGs on PlayStation, combining traditional turn-based combat with a unique social simulation element. You follow a group of high school friends investigating a mysterious murder in a quiet Japanese town, balancing daily life and dungeon crawling. The writing is excellent, the soundtrack memorable, and the characters deeply developed, offering a lengthy and rewarding experience. The game has multiple endings, so there's plenty of replay value, and it's a must-play for fans of narrative-driven RPGs. It's a 93 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 125 hours to platinum. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is down to an incredible $7.99, an unbeatable deal for one of the most acclaimed open-world RPGs of the last decade. You play as Geralt of Rivia, a monster hunter traversing a sprawling fantasy world filled with morally complex quests and unforgettable characters. The game features hundreds of hours of content, and if you want more, you can get the acclaimed expansions Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine. The PS5 version offers improved visuals and performance, making it feel fresh even years after release. So, if you've been on the fence, now is the perfect time. It's a 92 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 110 hours to platinum. Resident Evil 2 is available for $9.99 and is one of the best horror game remakes ever made. Capcom perfectly reimagined the classic survival horror title with modern gameplay, stunning graphics, and a tense atmosphere that keeps you on edge. You play two campaigns following rookie cop Leon Kennedy and college student Claire Redfield, each with unique story twists. The game balances puzzles, exploration, and intense combat with zombies and other creatures, delivering a nostalgic yet fresh experience. It's perfect for horror fans or newcomers. It's a 91 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Okami HD at $9.99 is an artistic masterpiece combining action-adventure gameplay with a stunning sumie ink art style inspired by Japanese folklore. You play as the sun goddess Amaterasu in wolf form, using a celestial brush to interact with the world, solve puzzles, and defeat enemies. The game is beloved for its unique visuals, charming story, and innovative mechanics that stand the test of time. This HD edition enhances the original with improved resolution and smoother performance, so for anyone who appreciates art and storytelling, Okami is a must. It's a 93 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 60 hours to platinum. Sid Meier's Civilization VI is on sale for $5.99, offering deep, addictive, turn-based strategy gameplay. You build and expand an empire through history, balancing diplomacy, science, culture, and warfare. The console version plays well with a controller and includes major expansions, providing hundreds of hours of strategic fun. Whether for long sessions or quick games, Civ 6 adapts well. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 60 hours to platinum. Dragon Ball FighterZ is priced at $9.59 and delivers fast-paced 2.5D fighting action featuring the iconic Dragon Ball anime cast. Developed by Arc System Works, it boasts cel-shaded graphics and a combat system that's accessible yet deep. The story mode offers a fun narrative, while online multiplayer keeps things competitive, so it's a must for fighting game fans and Dragon Ball enthusiasts. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 70 hours to platinum. Kentucky Route Zero TV Edition, priced at $9.99, is a slow, meditative narrative adventure focusing on surreal storytelling and atmosphere. Its episodic structure explores themes of memory and loss in rural Kentucky, emphasizing mood over puzzles or action. This edition includes all 5 acts for a full experience, ideal for players seeking literary, thoughtful games. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 8 hours to platinum. Return to Monkey Island is on sale for $9.99, reviving the humor, puzzles, and characters that made the series a cult classic. The game modernizes visuals and voice acting while keeping the original's wit and charm. Fans of point-and-click adventures will find plenty to enjoy, with puzzles that balance challenge and fun, making it accessible for newcomers too. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 17 hours to platinum. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is down to $5.99, including remastered versions of the original trilogy plus nearly all DLC, offering great value for sci-fi RPG fans. Experience Commander Shepard's epic saga battling galactic threats and building relationships across 3 games. The graphical and gameplay improvements modernize these classics without losing their narrative strength, and the branching storylines provide hundreds of hours of gameplay. Mass Effect 1 is a 91 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Mass Effect 2 is a 96 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 35 hours to platinum. And Mass Effect 3 is a 93 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Dying Light: The Following Enhanced Edition is $8.99 and combines the base zombie parkour game with major DLC, including a vast open-world expansion with drivable buggies. The game mixes fluid movement, melee combat, and a day-night cycle that makes nights much more dangerous. The Enhanced Edition improves visuals and performance on modern consoles, enhancing an already excellent survival experience, so it remains a top choice for zombie action fans. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Jak 2 is $7.49 and delivers a darker, more mature sequel to the original platformer, introducing open-world gameplay, vehicles, and stronger narrative focus. Though rougher by today's standards, its ambition helped define Naughty Dog's evolution, its gritty tone and story earned it a cult following, and it's a nostalgia pick for retro fans. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 18 hours to platinum. Uncharted: The Nathan Drake Collection is $9.99 and brings together the first 3 Uncharted games, Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, and Drake's Deception, all remastered with better visuals, improved performance, and some welcome quality of life tweaks. These games are an absolute staple of the PlayStation ecosystem, offering some of the best action-adventure experiences in gaming with cinematic storytelling, excellent pacing, and rock-solid gunplay and traversal. The trilogy is packed with memorable set pieces, colorful characters, and a sense of globe-trotting adventure that helped redefine the genre back in the PS3 era. If you somehow missed these or just want to relive them in the best way possible, this is the perfect excuse to jump back in. It's a 92 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 45 hours total to get all 3 platinums. Zero Escape, the Nonary Games, is just $5.99 and gives you two of the best visual novels ever made, 999 and Virtue's Last Reward, bundled together with modern upgrades like voice acting and a much-needed flowchart system. The premise blends death game thriller with sci-fi mystery as you work through escape room-style puzzles and story decisions that branch and eventually loop back in wild ways. It's all about uncovering the truth behind a kidnapping, a strange facility, and a lot of seemingly impossible outcomes. The twists are absolutely insane, and it's one of those rare experiences that'll stick with you long after you finish. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard is down to $7.99 and marked a total reinvention for the franchise, shifting to a first-person perspective and introducing a terrifying new location in the form of the Baker family estate. The pacing is masterful, with slow, atmospheric exploration giving way to frantic moments of combat and escape. The game balances horror and action with just the right tension, and it's all anchored by strong level design and a deeply creepy narrative that slowly unfolds as you uncover the truth behind the infection and your own character's connection to it. It's a fantastic entry point for newcomers and a bold pivot that revitalized the entire series. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights is $9.99 and is one of the most beautiful and emotional Metroidvanias in recent memory, combining tight 2D combat with a hauntingly gorgeous art style and a somber, piano-heavy soundtrack. You play as a young girl named Lily who awakens in a ruined world plagued by cursed undead, and as you purify spirits and gain their powers, the game's combat becomes more varied and strategic. There's a satisfying blend of platforming, map exploration, and challenging boss fights, and the lore is delivered in fragments that slowly build a compelling world. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Risk of Rain 2 is just $6.24 and takes the fast-paced roguelike formula and turns it into a 3D co-op shooter where you battle through alien planets, stack ridiculous item combos, and try to survive as long as possible. It's a chaotic, endlessly replayable experience with a wide variety of characters that all feel distinct in how they move and fight. The difficulty scales the longer you survive, so runs can get wild fast, especially with friends in multiplayer. There's also a solid amount of unlockables, alternate paths, and hidden bosses to chase, giving the game a ton of replay value. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Inscription is down to $7.99, and this one's hard to describe without spoiling anything. It starts as a creepy deck builder with roguelike mechanics and slowly morphs into something much stranger, with multiple layers of narrative and mechanical twists. The card game itself is satisfying and tactical, with unique creatures and abilities that create interesting choices every turn. But what really makes Inscription stand out is the way it evolves, pulling back layer after layer to reveal a much larger mystery. It's weird, it's dark, and it's brilliant in how it plays with your expectations. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and about 50 hours to platinum. AI The Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative is $9.99 and continues the surreal crime thriller of the original, this time with dual protagonists and a new case that gets increasingly bizarre. The game switches between real-world investigations and dreamlike sequences where logic bends and puzzles get more abstract. What really sells it, though, is the mix of serious drama and unhinged humor, combined with some of the most genuinely surprising story twists in the genre. It also has quality of life improvements over the first game, making it a smoother experience all around. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 30 hours to platinum. Deep Rock Galactic is down to $9.89 and is an absolute blast in co-op. You play as space dwarves mining alien caves, fighting off waves of bugs, and trying to survive long enough to extract your loot. The destructible environments and class-based gameplay lead to tons of cool emergent moments, and the mission variety stays fresh with different biomes, objectives, and hazards. It's especially fun with friends, but even solo, there's a ton to unlock and upgrade as you level up your dwarves. Just be warned, some of the trophies are extremely grindy. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 8 out of 10, and around 300 hours to platinum. The Forgotten City is just $7.49 and started life as a Skyrim mod before becoming its own fully fledged narrative mystery game set in a cursed Roman city. You're trapped in a time loop, investigating the townspeople and trying to figure out who's going to break the quote-unquote golden rule, a divine law that turns everyone to gold if anyone sins. It's a brilliant setup that encourages exploration, deduction, and multiple solutions, with dialogue that actually reacts meaningfully to your actions across loops. The writing is excellent, and it handles philosophy and ethics in a way that's thought-provoking but still approachable. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. 428 Shibuya Scramble is also $7.49 and is one of the most unique visual novels out there. It uses live-action photography and real actors instead of traditional anime-style artwork, and the story branches between 5 different characters whose lives intersect during a single day in Tokyo. It's got thriller elements, comedy, and even a bit of sci-fi, and the way your choices affect other storylines in real time is incredibly clever. Despite its unconventional presentation, the pacing is tight and the localization is excellent. If you want something different in the visual novel space, this is a must-play. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 30 hours to platinum. South Park: The Stick of Truth is $7.49 and nails the look and feel of the show perfectly. You play as the new kid in town who gets wrapped up in a massive fantasy LARP with all the familiar characters. The turn-based combat is surprisingly solid and gets better as you unlock abilities and recruit party members, but it's the writing and fan service that really carry the game. It's packed with jokes, side quests, and references, and if you're a fan of the show's irreverent tone, it's basically a playable episode. Just a heads up though, the humor is definitely not for everyone. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 20 hours to platinum. Far Cry 4 is down to $5.99, and if you've played any of the other Far Cry titles, this is basically just more of that. A big open-world shooter with tons of outposts to clear, weapons to collect, and chaos to unleash. The setting in the Himalayas is visually stunning, and the game adds things like helicopters and elephants to ride, which definitely makes for some memorable moments. The story is fine, but really it's about the sandbox mayhem. If you enjoy explosive gameplay and checking off map icons, this will scratch that itch. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 25 hours to platinum. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim Special Edition is going for just $9.99, which is a steal for one of the most iconic open-world RPGs of all time. This version includes all the DLC expansions, improved visuals, and mod support that lets you customize your experience in wild and hilarious ways. You can lose hundreds of hours exploring the snowy wilderness, joining guilds, or yelling dragons out of the sky with your shouts. There's something deeply satisfying about carving out your legend however you want, whether it's a stealth archer, or a stealth archer. It's a 96 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 125 hours to platinum. BioShock: The Collection is $9.99 as well, bundling together BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite, all remastered and packed with every bit of story and DLC. Each game offers a different take on dystopia, from the underwater decay of Rapture to the sky-high dogma of Columbia, but they all deliver incredible atmosphere and twist-filled storytelling. The collection still holds up brilliantly with tight gunplay, eerie exploration, and some of the most memorable moments in gaming history. If you've never played these or it's been a while, this is an essential pickup that delivers serious value. They're a 93 average on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10 average, and around 65 hours to get the platinum in all 3 games. Viewfinder is down to $9.99, and it's one of the most unique puzzle games in years, built around a mechanic that lets you reshape reality using photographs. You can take a picture, place it in the world, and literally step into it, opening up completely fresh ways to navigate each level. It constantly introduces new layers to the concept and never outstays its welcome, making for a short but seriously memorable experience. If you're into clever environmental puzzles or games that mess with your perception, this one's a must-play. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 5 hours to platinum. Persona 4 Arena Ultimax is $8.99, and it's the definitive version of this spin-off fighter that brings together characters from both Persona 3 and 4 in a fast-paced 2D brawler. Despite being a fighting game, it still has visual novel story segments that add depth and lore for fans of the mainline RPGs. The combat is flashy and responsive, with a diverse roster and mechanics that are surprisingly deep. It's accessible for newcomers, but layered enough for pros. Even if you're just here for the story, the anime-style presentation and voice acting make it a smooth ride. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Yakuza Like a Dragon is going for $9.99, and it's a full-on reinvention of the series, trading real-time combat for a turn-based RPG system while keeping all the heart and chaos Yakuza fans expect. You play as Ichiban Kasuga, a lovable goofball with dreams of becoming a hero, and the supporting cast is just as charming and weird. The combat system is way more engaging than you'd expect from a turn-based setup, especially with its dynamic environments and character classes. Whether you're battling Yakuza or racing go-karts, this game is constantly surprising and always fun. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 80 hours to platinum. Resident Evil Village is also down to $9.99, and it's one of the most ambitious entries in the series, blending atmospheric horror, over-the-top action, and gothic storytelling. You'll face off against werewolves, haunted dolls, and of course the internet's favorite tall vampire lady in a journey that's as visual stunning as it is unpredictable. It strikes a great balance between scares and spectacle, and it keeps the tension high without ever getting frustrating. Whether you've stuck with the series or fell off years ago, this is a great re-entry point that respects the old while doing its own thing. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Streets of Rage 4 is on sale for $8.74, and it's a brilliant return for the beat-em-up genre that modernizes the formula without losing the retro flair. The hand-drawn visuals are beautiful, the soundtrack absolutely slaps, and the combos are satisfying whether you're playing solo or in co-op. It supports online and local multiplayer with different characters and fighting styles to mix things up every time you play. There's a nostalgic energy to the whole thing that still manages to feel fresh and exciting. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. Wargroove is $7.99, and it's a fantastic throwback to the classic Advanced Wars style tactics games with pixel art charm and surprisingly deep mechanics. You control commanders with unique abilities, build units from bases, and try to outmaneuver your enemies in grid-based combat. It supports a full campaign, online multiplayer, and even custom map creation, which adds loads of replay value. If you're into turn-based strategy and want something challenging but fair, this is an excellent pick. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 9 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Mega Man X Legacy Collection is $7.99 and includes the first 4 games in the Mega Man X series, giving you some of the most polished and beloved platformers from the SNES and PS1 era. These are fast, punishing, and incredibly satisfying once you learn their rhythms, and the collection includes modern quality-of-life tweaks and a challenge mode. Whether you're revisiting old favorites or checking them out for the first time, the package is solid and the value is there. If you like side-scrollers with tight controls and boss battles that actually test you, grab this one. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Jak 3 is going for $7.49, and it remains one of the most ambitious and varied platformers of the PS2 era, blending action, driving, and storytelling with open-world exploration. It wraps up the original Jak trilogy with a more serious tone, but still keeps its playful energy and tight gameplay loops. There's a huge range of weapons, vehicles, and missions that keep things fresh, and it all runs smoothly on PS4 with upscaled visuals. If you're nostalgic for the golden age of platformers, this one still holds up really well. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom is down to $9.59, and it's a gorgeous JRPG with real-time combat, city-building elements, and a heartfelt story about rebuilding a fallen kingdom. The world is vibrant and filled with colorful characters, and the music, composed by Joe Hisaishi of Studio Ghibli fame, adds so much emotional weight. It's lighter than most JRPGs in tone, making it a great choice for players looking for something hopeful and fun without sacrificing depth. Plus, the kingdom management minigame is surprisingly addictive. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 85 hours to platinum. Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is on sale for $6.74, and while it doesn't have a platinum trophy, it's still one of the most fun local co-op games you can play. One person defuses a bomb using only what they see on screen, while everyone else has to frantically read a manual and walk them through it, with a time limit ticking down the whole way. It's hilarious, stressful, and endlessly replayable, especially if you switch roles often. If you've got a roommate, partner, or group of friends who like party games, this one's an easy recommendation. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 7 hours to get to 100%. The Metro Saga bundle is going for just $8.99, and that gets you all 3 mainline Metro games plus their DLC in one package. These are atmospheric post-apocalyptic shooters based on Dmitry Glukovsky's novels, and they absolutely nail the survival horror vibe with immersive environments and solid storytelling. You'll spend time in both the ruined Moscow surface and its claustrophobic underground, scavenging for filters and bullets while avoiding mutated horrors. Each game brings a refinement of the mechanics, with Exodus in particular opening up the level design significantly. It's an 85 average on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10 average, and around 85 hours to get all 3 platinums. Marvel's Midnight Suns is down to $8.99, and it's easily one of the best turn-based tactics games of the last few years. Think XCOM meets Marvel superheroes, but with a surprisingly deep relationship building and deck building component. The combat system gives you tons of flexibility and creativity as you build card decks for each hero, and they've got some fun interactions and combo potential. Between combat missions, you'll also be exploring the Abbey and spending time with heroes like Blade and Ghost Rider in one of the weirdest but most endearing storylines Marvel's put to screen. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Unpacking is available for $9.99, and if you've never played it, this is a short and heartfelt little game that tells its story entirely through the objects you're asked to unpack. It's incredibly calming and has an unexpected emotional payoff as you piece together the life story of the protagonist from where their possessions go. The pixel art and sound design are top-notch, and it's a great way to relax between more intense games. It's basically gameplay through observation and arrangement, but it manages to tell a better story than most action titles. I actually have a full trophy guide on the channel already, so check that out if you pick this up. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 4 hours to platinum. Hot Springs Story is on sale for $6.99, and it's another cozy sim game from the minds at Kairosoft. You're managing a relaxing Japanese-style inn and spa, expanding your facilities and attracting guests as you try to balance revenue, upgrades, and satisfaction. It's low stress and super charming, and if you've played any of Kairosoft's other mobile-to-console ports like Game Dev Story, this follows a familiar and addictive loop. This one's perfect if you just want to kick back and see your efforts slowly build a thriving business. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 30 hours to 100%, no platinum for this one. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night is just $9.99, and if you're into Metroidvania games, this is one of the better modern ones out there. It's from Koji Igarashi, the guy who helped shape the genre with Symphony of the Night, and it brings that classic gothic style with a modern twist. The game world is enormous, the RPG mechanics are deep, and the amount of weapon and ability customization is impressive. Boss fights are frequent and creative, and there's a surprising amount of post-game content if you get hooked. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. The Sexy Brutal is going for $5.99, and this is one of the most unique puzzle games you can play. You're reliving the same masked ball over and over again, trying to prevent murders as they happen in real time by manipulating the clock and observing routines. It's part time loop mystery, part stealth puzzler, and the combination works brilliantly thanks to clever design and stylish visuals. The writing and soundtrack also help sell the moody but quirky vibe, and the payoff at the end is well worth the effort. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 5 hours to platinum. DMC Devil May Cry Definitive Edition is down to $9.99, and this is the most refined version of the controversial reboot from Ninja Theory. The combat is still incredibly stylish and fluid, with multiple weapon types and enemy juggling feeling tight and satisfying once you get into a rhythm. The updated visuals and inclusion of all the DLC, plus turbo mode and hardcore options, make this a very replayable experience. While the original fan backlash was loud, time has been kind to this game, and it's well worth grabbing now if you missed it. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Citizen Sleeper is just $5.99, and this is a narrative-driven RPG where you play a synthetic human on a lawless space station trying to survive and find meaning. The dice-based systems and turn economy make every choice feel important, and the writing is excellent throughout, especially in the branching stories and philosophical questions it raises. If you liked Disco Elysium, this shares a similar tone, though it's more focused on mechanics than dialogue trees. The lo-fi cyberpunk vibes and haunting soundtrack really stick with you after the credits roll. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Not for Broadcast Complete Edition is down to $7.99, and it's a satirical FMV game where you're the person behind the control desk of a TV broadcast during a period of rising authoritarianism. You decide which cameras to show, censor profanity, and balance public opinion, all while dealing with personal crises and increasing pressure from the state. It's one of the best uses of full-motion video in gaming in the last decade, and the Complete Edition includes all the DLC and story content. If you like weird games that push boundaries and reward careful attention, this one's a gem. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 35 hours to platinum. Chivalry 2 Special Edition is on sale for $9.99, and this is some of the most fun you can have in chaotic, large-scale medieval battles. There's a surprising amount of nuance to the combat system, even if the core loop is just about swinging swords and screaming. The Special Edition includes a few customization goodies, but the base game is what shines. Huge maps, siege weapons, decapitations, and a blend of skill and hilarity. Whether you go full try-hard or just want to roleplay as a lunatic knight, it's a blast with friends or randoms. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Control Ultimate Edition is down to $5.99, and this is one of the best supernatural action adventures of the last decade. Remedy's signature weirdness is cranked up to 11 here, with shifting brutalist architecture, telekinetic combat, and a storyline that's as mysterious as it is compelling. The Ultimate Edition includes all DLC, including the Alan Wake crossover, and runs better on PS5 with ray tracing and performance options. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Tom Clancy's The Division 2 is just $7.49, and this is Ubisoft's most polished looter shooter by far. You're running operations in a post-pandemic Washington, D.C., taking on factions, doing missions, and collecting ever better gear in a sprawling online world. It's a great solo or co-op experience, and while the narrative isn't the star, the world building and mission design are rock solid. The endgame systems and expansions add tons of content, and there's been consistent support over the years with seasonal content. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Dave the Diver is $12.99 and offers a charming blend of relaxing deep-sea exploration by day and sushi restaurant management by night. Its pixel art style and quirky humor make for a cozy atmosphere that quickly pulls you in. You'll upgrade your diving gear, catch rare fish, and whip up gourmet dishes to keep your customers happy. Whether you're into peaceful exploration or light strategy, this game creates a compelling, laid-back loop that's easy to lose hours in. It's a 90 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Neon White, priced at $13.74, is a lightning-fast, first-person action platformer where you race through levels using card-based powers. With slick anime visuals and a pulsating soundtrack, it's stylish and addictively fast-paced. The game's leaderboard system encourages replaying levels to shave off seconds, which makes it great for competitive players. Beneath its edgy exterior, Neon White also delivers a surprisingly emotional story. If you like speedrunning and stylish gameplay, this one's a must-try. It's an 89 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 8 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. Cocoon, available for $14.99, is a mysterious, wordless puzzle adventure from the creators of Limbo and Inside. You jump between nested worlds, solving clever puzzles that link these dimensions. Its haunting visuals and immersive sound design create a uniquely atmospheric experience. The narrative unfolds entirely through gameplay and environment, inviting you to interpret the story on your own. Though relatively short, Cocoon's artistry and design leave a lasting impression. It's an 88 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 5 hours to platinum. Nier Automata Game of the Yorha Edition is $15.99 and includes the base game plus all DLC. This cult classic fuses stylish Platinum Games combat with a deep philosophical sci-fi story that unfolds over multiple playthroughs. Fast-paced combat mixed with bullet hell sequences keeps gameplay exciting, while the evocative soundtrack adds emotional depth. If you haven't experienced it yet, this edition is a great way in. It's a 91 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 60 hours to platinum. Neva, on sale for $13.99, comes from the creators of Grease and centers on the touching bond between a young woman and her wolf companion in a beautifully decaying world. With stunning visuals, an emotional story, and engaging platforming puzzles, it offers a poignant and artistic experience. Fans of indie narrative games will want to check this one out. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 5 hours to platinum. Sea of Stars is priced at $19.24 and is a loving tribute to classic 16-bit RPGs. It features timing-based turn combat like Paper Mario, and a beautiful soundtrack by Yasunori Mitsuda. The game blends gorgeous pixel art, fun puzzles, and meaningful exploration to deliver a fresh yet nostalgic RPG experience. If you're craving that SNES-era feel with modern polish, this is one of the best picks. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 40 hours to platinum. The Great Ace Attorney Chronicles costs $15.99 and bundles 2 mystery courtroom adventures set in Japan's Meiji era. The writing is sharp, the characters charming, and the courtroom drama engaging. It's a slower-paced, story-driven game that rewards players who enjoy narrative puzzles and dramatic cross-examinations. If you love strong storytelling with humor, this collection is well worth your time. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and about 50 hours to platinum. Dragon Quest Builders 2 at $19.99 mixes block-building gameplay with classic RPG progression wrapped in the beloved Dragon Quest style. You'll gather materials, battle monsters, and construct towns while unraveling a heartfelt story. The game strikes a satisfying balance between creative freedom and narrative direction, making it perfect for both builders and RPG fans. With a colorful world and plenty to do, it offers great value. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 50 hours to platinum. Steins Gate Elite, priced at $11.99, is a fully animated remake of the classic visual novel. It blends time travel, suspense, and strong character drama, integrating scenes from the anime for a cinematic feel. The story is heavy on dialogue but exceptionally well written, with multiple endings influenced by your choices. It's a top-tier entry point for anyone curious about visual novels. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 30 hours to platinum. Shadow Gambit: The Cursed Crew is $17.99 and offers tactical stealth gameplay with a supernatural pirate twist. Command a cursed crew with unique powers as you navigate complex island missions. The Save Anywhere system encourages trying different strategies, while each crew member's abilities add depth to the tactics. For fans of stealth and fantasy, this game is a hidden gem. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 75 hours to platinum normally, or just a few minutes if you use the developer mode. Ys 8 Lacrimosa of Dana is $19.99 and one of the most popular entries in the action RPG series. It features real-time combat, base building, and a dual narrative structure. With engaging characters and smooth gameplay, it delivers a long and rewarding adventure. Fans appreciate the balance of hack-and-slash action, exploration, and story depth. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and about 80 hours to platinum. Outer Wilds, priced at $14.99, offers a unique open-world mystery set in a solar system stuck in a time loop. Exploration and puzzle solving are at the core, with every discovery feeling earned. Best played with little prior knowledge, it rewards curiosity and patience, making it unforgettable for fans of discovery-driven games. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 20 hours to platinum. 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim is going for just $14.99, and this game is honestly one of the most unique and memorable sci-fi narratives ever told in gaming. It's a visual novel meets side-scrolling tactical RPG hybrid that jumps around 13 different perspectives and timelines, but everything clicks together beautifully in the end. The story is complex and filled with mind-bending twists, and if you're into games that lean hard into storytelling, this one's a gem. Plus, the battle system is surprisingly deep once you get into it, blending real-time tactics with strategic planning. The voice acting and art direction are top-notch, making this a true standout. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 35 hours to platinum. Disgaea 4 Complete Plus is on sale for $19.99, and if you're looking for an absurdly deep and addictive strategy RPG with a ton of post-game content, look no further. The Disgaea series is known for its completely over-the-top mechanics. I'm talking about characters hitting level 9,999, stacking entire armies into towers, and dealing literal millions of damage. This entry's got one of the better stories in the franchise too, starring a vampire named Valvatores who's obsessed with sardines. It's a grind-heavy game for sure, but the humor and sheer ridiculousness make it a blast, and the strategic depth means you'll be hooked for hundreds of hours. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 8 out of 10, and about 200 hours to platinum. Final Fantasy XV Royal Edition is down to $13.99 and includes all the post-launch DLC plus some quality of life improvements, making it the definitive version of this divisive entry. It's a bit of a road trip RPG with an action-focused battle system, and while the story's tone can be uneven, there are some really heartfelt moments in there. The open-world structure is more relaxed than other entries in the series, but if you vibe with its laid-back atmosphere and flashy combat, there's a lot to enjoy. The addition of a first-person mode and extra story content in the Royal Edition really helps flesh out the world and characters. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 80 hours to platinum. Ender Magnolia Bloom in the Mist is a newer release going for $16.24, and if you enjoyed Ender Lilies, this is very much in the same vein, but even more refined. It's a dark fantasy Metroidvania with beautiful 2D visuals, fluid combat, and a somber atmosphere that pulls you in. There's a surprising amount of depth to the build variety and boss design, and while it's challenging, it rarely feels unfair. The world design encourages a lot of exploration and backtracking with new abilities, and every new zone feels carefully crafted to add to the overall mood. If you like games that combine haunting art with rewarding gameplay, this is a great pick. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 20 hours to platinum. Nine Souls is on sale for $17.99, and it's one of the most stylish and satisfying action platformers to come out last year. Think of it like a 2D Sekiro mixed with Hollow Knight, where precision parries and fast reactions are the key to survival. The combat is tough but incredibly rewarding once you get the rhythm down, and the world building is rooted in a unique blend of cyberpunk and Eastern mythology. It's got tight level design, smooth animations, and some very cool boss fights that require mastering the parry and dodge mechanics. The soundtrack is also a standout, perfectly complementing the intense atmosphere. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and about 30 hours to platinum. Raven's Watch is going for $13.49, and it's a top-down roguelike action game from the makers of Curse of the Dead Gods. You play as characters inspired by fairy tales and legends, like Beowulf, the Snow Queen, or the Pied Piper, and each one has a different playstyle and skill set. Runs can be brutal, especially in solo mode, but the co-op really shines here if you've got friends to play with. It's got great visual flair, a banging soundtrack, and a strong core gameplay loop that keeps you coming back for more. The progression system and unlocks also add a lot of replayability. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and about 85 hours to platinum. The Case of the Golden Idol is just $10.79, and it's a brilliant deduction-based mystery game that's all about solving crimes through observation and logic. Each case presents you with a scene full of clues, and it's up to you to piece together exactly what happened, who did it, and why, without any hand-holding. It's basically a modern-day return of Obra Dinn with a grimy pixel aesthetic and an interconnected plot that gradually unfolds. Puzzle fans should absolutely give this a shot for its clever design and satisfying resolution. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 8 hours to finish with no platinum. Crow Country is $11.99, and it's a love letter to classic survival horror games, especially the fixed camera era of the PlayStation 1. It's a short but sweet experience with puzzle solving, creepy atmosphere, and just enough jank to feel authentic. The game oozes with charm thanks to its low-poly visuals and clever design choices. There's even a mode that lets you disable combat completely if you just want to explore the narrative and puzzles. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and only about 2 hours to platinum. Hogwarts Legacy is down to $17.49, and whether you're a hardcore Harry Potter fan or just looking for a good open-world action RPG, this one delivers a pretty compelling experience. Set 100 years before the books, you create your own student and get sorted into a house, explore Hogwarts, and master spells while uncovering a darker mystery underneath it all. It's not perfect, the combat can get repetitive and some systems feel shallow, but the world building and attention to detail are top-notch, with a massive, richly detailed environment full of side quests and collectibles. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 50 hours to platinum. Tactics Ogre Reborn is on sale for $19.99, and it's one of the most important tactical RPGs of all time, now updated with better visuals, voice acting, and a modernized interface. This is a really complex game, both narratively and mechanically, with branching storylines, class systems, and turn-based combat that demands strategy and patience. If you're into games like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics, this is required playing. Just be warned, the grind is real, and battles can take a long time to get through, but the payoff is worth it. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and about 120 hours to platinum. The Tomb Raider Definitive Survivor Trilogy is just $12.49, and you're getting 3 full action-adventure games here. Tomb Raider, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, all bundled into one package. These are cinematic, Uncharted-style games with stealth, crafting, and plenty of tomb raiding, of course. Lara's original story is a lot grittier and more grounded here, and each game builds on the last in terms of mechanics and exploration. For the price, it's an amazing value and perfect if you want to dive into this iconic series. It's an 83 average on Metacritic, trophy difficulty average around 4 out of 10, and about 95 hours to get the platinum in all 3 games. The Dark Side Detective Series Edition is $10.34 and includes both of the quirky point-and-click mystery games, the original and A Fumble in the Dark. These are short, funny, and surprisingly heartfelt paranormal investigations packed with retro charm, fourth wall breaks, and goofy jokes that actually land. It's like if X-Files and Monkey Island had a weird pixel baby. If you want something lighthearted and low effort to chill with for a few evenings, this is a perfect pick. I've actually got the platinum in both of these games, and they're some of my favorite point-and-click adventures of all time. It's an 81 average on Metacritic, trophy difficulty average around 2 out of 10, and about 6 hours to get the platinum in both games. Mortal Kombat 1 is $16.49 right now, and brings back the brutal, over-the-top fighting action fans love with a modern twist. The game features stunning visuals and revamped mechanics that make each match feel fresh, while the story mode dives deep into the rebooted timeline and offers some genuinely surprising moments. Whether you're in a competitive play or just want to crush some skulls in single-player towers, there's plenty to sink your teeth into, and the new cameo system adds an extra layer of strategy that gives each fight more depth. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Stray is on sale for $17.99, and it's one of the most memorable indie titles in recent years. You play as a stray cat navigating a beautifully realized cyberpunk city, solving puzzles, and interacting with quirky robots along the way. The atmosphere and storytelling are surprisingly deep for such a short game, making it a great one-sitting playthrough, and it manages to strike a balance between exploration and emotional depth. It runs smoothly on PS5 and features excellent use of the DualSense controller, making the experience even more immersive. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 8 hours to platinum. Just Shapes and Beats is down to $11.99 and delivers a music-based bullet hell experience that's as challenging as it is stylish. The soundtrack is incredible and the gameplay syncs perfectly to every beat, keeping you on edge and entertained. It's great solo, but even better in co-op, especially during chaotic boss battles that light up the screen, and the visuals alone are a spectacle worth experiencing. There's also a story mode that adds a bit of narrative between the chaos, and it's surprisingly heartfelt for a game all about dodging shapes. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. Valhalla, cyberpunk bartender action, is just $10.04, and it's not your average visual novel. It's all about making drinks and listening to stories in a dystopian future. The dialogue is sharp and surprisingly emotional, with a strong cast of regulars whose lives unfold over time. There's no traditional gameplay loop, but the writing and world building absolutely carry it, and the chill pacing makes it a perfect game to unwind with. Plus, the synth-heavy soundtrack perfectly complements the late-night bar vibes, pulling you deeper into its cozy, moody atmosphere. If you liked either of the Coffee Talk games, you'll probably enjoy this one. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 2 hours to platinum. LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga is $11.99, and it's an enormous package covering all 9 mainline films with revamped gameplay and a galaxy full of secrets. There's a huge variety of planets to visit, characters to unlock, and ships to fly, all done with that classic LEGO humor. It's a great one for completionists and families alike, and the sheer amount of content makes it well worth the price. The open world elements are surprisingly robust too, and they offer a sense of freedom not seen in previous LEGO games. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 100 hours to platinum. Live A Live is $19.99, and it's a remake of a cult classic JRPG that tells multiple short stories across different time periods. Each story has its own art style, tone, and mechanics, creating a unique anthology that somehow all comes together in the end. The combat system is accessible but deep, and the pixel art is absolutely gorgeous, bringing a retro flair to a modern audience. The HD 2D engine Square Enix has been using really shines here, giving old-school RPG fans something fresh to enjoy. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Grime is down to $17.49 and offers a haunting Metroidvania experience with brutal melee combat and some of the best enemy designs in the genre. It's got a deep skill tree, bizarre surreal environments, and satisfying progression through its interconnected world. Boss fights are punishing but fair, and the parry system makes every encounter feel tense, rewarding players who master the combat mechanics. There's also a unique absorb mechanic that adds depth to every fight and gives the game a distinctive identity among its peers. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. A Plague Tale Innocence is on sale for $11.99, and it's a narrative-driven stealth action game set during the Black Plague in medieval France. You'll follow siblings Amicia and Hugo as they flee from both the Inquisition and supernatural swarms of rats in a heartbreaking, visually impressive story. The pacing is tight and the gameplay evolves nicely as you gain new tools and abilities, and the emotional weight of the story stays with you long after the credits roll. The environments are beautifully rendered and help to sell the grim, oppressive atmosphere of the time period. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony is $11.99 and takes the high-stakes murder mystery format to new extremes with wild twists and colorful characters. You'll investigate murders, interrogate suspects, and participate in over-the-top class trials that mix logic puzzles with chaotic minigames. The story can be divisive, but it's a roller coaster ride from start to finish, and it constantly subverts expectations in clever ways. The voice acting and localization are top-notch too, and they help bring the cast's personalities to life in a big way. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 95 hours to platinum. Koira is available for $10.79, and it's a relaxing, emotional adventure about a forest spirit and their newly adopted dog companion. The game has a hand-painted art style and wordless storytelling that lets the atmosphere and music do the heavy lifting. It's a peaceful game that focuses on exploration in small moments, not action, and it's ideal for players who want something heartwarming and low stress. The bond between the characters grows naturally over time, and it really sticks with you after the credits roll. It's an 80 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 4 hours to 100%, no platinum for this one. Wanderstop is $19.99, and it's a narrative-focused adventure about a former warrior turned tea shop owner exploring burnout and identity in a cozy fantasy setting. The writing is thoughtful, often funny, and sometimes surprisingly raw, wrapped in a vibrant and stylized visual presentation. It's less about gameplay and more about spending time in a world that invites you to slow down, and the chill pacing really complements its themes of healing and self-reflection. There are some unexpected moments of introspection that feel very personal, and they help the game stand out in the cozy genre. It's an 80 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 12 hours to platinum. Nico Dorico, The Magical World Director's Cut is $19.49 and brings back classic platformer vibes with modern visuals and some fun dual-character mechanics. It's a colorful, charming world that plays great solo or in co-op with tight controls and whimsical boss fights. There's also a solid amount of content packed in here, including collectibles and secrets to discover, and it's an easy recommendation for fans of the genre. The level variety is strong throughout, with new mechanics introduced just often enough to keep things fresh. It's an 80 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 15 hours to platinum. For $55.99, Baldur's Gate 3 is a massive, choice-driven RPG from Larian Studios that offers one of the most reactive story systems in any game out there, and it gives you the freedom to approach nearly every situation however you want, whether you're exploring solo or teaming up in co-op. It's absolutely packed with story beats, dice rolls, turn-based combat, party building, and fully voiced characters that make every campaign feel unique and dynamic. It's a 96 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 120 hours to platinum. Elden Ring is $35.99 right now, and it's from Software's open-world evolution of the Souls formula, blending their signature challenging combat with a massive and mysterious world that's absolutely packed with things to discover and conquer. You've got tons of freedom in how you build your character and tackle bosses, and it really captures that sense of exploration where you're constantly rewarded for curiosity and bravery. It's a 96 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 65 hours to platinum. At $29.99, Red Dead Redemption is Rockstar's classic western, remastered for modern consoles, and it still holds up as one of the best open-world games thanks to its strong story, amazing atmosphere, and unforgettable characters that make the frontier come to life. Whether you're hunting bounties, playing poker in dusty saloons, or just riding through the sunset, it nails that immersive frontier feeling and offers a slower-paced but deeply satisfying experience. It's a 95 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 40 hours to platinum. For $41.99, Metaphor ReFantazio is the latest RPG from the team behind Persona 3, 4, and 5, and while it has a lot of familiar elements like turn-based combat, bonding with party members, and stylish UI, it's set in a brand new fantasy world filled with political intrigue and a focus on claiming the throne. The blend of real-time overworld action with tactical, menu-based battles makes it feel fresh, and the story has a strong pace with great character development throughout. It's a 94 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 100 hours to platinum. God of War Ragnarok is down to $29.39, and it's the conclusion to Kratos and Atreus' Norse saga, managing to up the ante from the 2018 reboot with bigger moments, tighter combat, and more emotional storytelling that sticks with you. The exploration is more open this time around, and the game offers some really well-designed side content along with the main story that stays gripping throughout. It's a 94 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Clair Obscure Expedition 33 is going for $44.99, and it's a visually striking turn-based RPG with a painterly art style that immediately sets it apart, blending in real-time elements like manual dodging and timed hits to make combat more engaging and skill-based. The world and lore are surreal but intriguing, and if you're into stylish, narrative-heavy RPGs, this is definitely one of the more unique entries to come out recently. It's a 93 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 60 hours to platinum. Blueprints is $23.99, and it's a mysterious puzzle adventure game with a procedural castle that changes every time you play, and the more time you spend inside, the more you learn about the world and its secrets that unravel in unexpected ways. The game balances exploration with discovery, and there's a strong emphasis on experimentation that makes each run feel fresh and unpredictable. It's a 92 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 80 hours to platinum. At $44.99, Forza Horizon 5 might be best known as an Xbox game, but it's now on PlayStation and it's just as great here, offering an open-world racing experience that's accessible and packed with content that never feels repetitive. There are hundreds of cars, dynamic weather systems, and seasonal events that keep things feeling lively, and it's got some of the best driving mechanics in any arcade racer. It's a 92 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. Tekken 8 is on sale for $29.99, and it continues the King of Iron Fist tournament with revamped visuals and a new heat system that encourages aggressive play, making it faster and flashier than ever while keeping the core depth the series is known for. With an excellent story mode, tons of online content, and a robust roster of characters, it's a fantastic entry for veterans and newcomers alike. It's a 90 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 7 hours to platinum. Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is $39.89, and it brings both Peter Parker and Miles Morales together in a story that's packed with action, heartfelt character moments, and some of the best traversal mechanics in any open-world game. Swinging through New York is smoother than ever, and the combat has seen some great upgrades with the new symbiote abilities. It's a 90 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 30 hours to platinum. Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth is going for just $27.99, and it blends the absurdity and heart of the Yakuza series with a new turn-based battle system that gives you more tactical options and ridiculous attacks than ever before. Ichiban's journey this time takes him to Hawaii, and it manages to mix a wild number of minigames with a strong story full of twists and genuinely emotional beats. It's an 89 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 90 hours to platinum. For $29.99, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics brings together 7 classic arcade fighters into one nostalgic package, featuring enhanced online play, training modes, and visual filters that preserve that retro arcade aesthetic while modernizing the experience. If you grew up with these games or want to see why they're still beloved in the fighting game community, this is a great way to experience some true genre-defining titles. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 8 hours to platinum. For $24.99, Theater Rhythm Final Bar Line is a massive rhythm game celebrating over 30 years of Final Fantasy music, and it features 385 tracks right out of the box, plus hundreds more if you spring for the DLC. You've got party-based rhythm combat where you build teams of iconic characters and tap along to battle themes, town music, and emotional cinematic tracks from across the series. There are tons of customization options, difficulty modes, and even a multiplayer mode that lets you compete with friends or randoms. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. For $29.39, Gran Turismo 7 is the ultimate racing simulator on PS5 with stunning visuals, dynamic weather, and an incredible sense of realism whether you're playing on a controller or full racing rig. The campaign mode lets you build up your garage through licenses and challenges, while online multiplayer has a surprisingly strong competitive scene. There's a museum-like love of automotive history built into the experience, and fans of car culture will find a lot to dig into with the tuning, livery customization, and curated content. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 7 out of 10, and around 90 hours to platinum. At $29.39, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut includes the full base game and the Iki Island expansion, which adds a whole new map, storyline, and side content to one of the most stylish open-world games on PlayStation. You play as Jin Sakai, a samurai torn between tradition and necessity, as you use stealth, swordplay, and exploration to push back a Mongol invasion on the island of Tsushima. The cinematic presentation and slick combat system make this one of the most polished games of the last few years, and the Legends co-op mode is a nice bonus too. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 50 hours to platinum. For $23.99, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is a remaster of the early 2000s action RPG that plays more like Diablo than a traditional Baldur's Gate title, and it's a nostalgic blast whether you're going solo or playing couch co-op. Set in the Forgotten Realms universe, you'll hack and slash your way through dungeons and cities, picking up loot, leveling up your character, and slaying all manner of classic D&D monsters. The remaster looks sharp in 4K and runs smoothly, preserving the original gameplay with just enough modern polish. It's an 87 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and around 20 hours to finish, no platinum for this one. At $55.99, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle delivers a cinematic action-adventure experience that nails the tone and pacing of the movies with great set pieces, puzzles, and plenty of whip-cracking fun. You'll explore tombs, fight off Nazis, and uncover ancient artifacts in a globe-trotting adventure that balances narrative and gameplay really well. The game looks fantastic on current-gen hardware, with some impressive lighting and animation work, and Troy Baker's take on indie works surprisingly well. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 45 hours to platinum. For $34.99, Silent Hill 2 is a full remake of one of the most iconic horror games ever made, bringing modern graphics and mechanics to a deeply psychological narrative that still hits just as hard. You play as James Sunderland, drawn to the fog-covered town by a mysterious letter from his dead wife, and the game leans heavily into unsettling atmosphere and disturbing creature design. With the improved combat, exploration, and pacing, this is the best way to experience one of the all-time greats in horror storytelling. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 25 hours to platinum. At $29.99, Anonymous Code is a sci-fi visual novel from the creators of Steins Gate, featuring time travel, hacking, and conspiracy-laden twists that unfold through an interactive narrative. You play as a teenage hacker in a future Tokyo who gains the ability to save and load reality like a video game, and things spiral quickly into metaphysical chaos. If you like dialogue-heavy stories with tons of lore and branching outcomes, this one's right up your alley. It's an 86 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. For $29.99, Ace Attorney Investigations Collection includes both Miles Edgeworth games, one of which has been officially localized for the first time, and it shifts the focus away from courtroom drama to crime scene investigation. You'll still get the same over-the-top characters and clever dialogue, but now with logic puzzles and deduction mechanics driving the action. The visual style has been cleaned up beautifully, and longtime fans will appreciate the new content and smoother presentation. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 20 hours to platinum. At $24.99, Apollo Justice Ace Attorney Trilogy brings together the 3 games that bridge the gap between Phoenix Wright's original adventures and the newer entries, giving you a full look at how the series evolved over time. These games feature some of the series' best cases, a new generation of characters, and mechanics like the Perceive system that lets you catch lies by reading body language. The collection includes quality-of-life updates and sharper visuals that make it the best way to play these underrated entries. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 1 out of 10, and around 90 hours to platinum. For $23.99, Octopath Traveler 2 is a beautifully crafted turn-based RPG that builds on everything fans loved about the first game, with 8 new protagonists and an improved narrative structure that brings their stories together more meaningfully. The combat is strategic and rewarding, with a break system that encourages planning and experimentation, and the music and art style are just stunning throughout. If you've been waiting for a modern JRPG that respects tradition while adding fresh ideas, this is one of the best in recent years. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 90 hours to platinum. At $24.99, Death Stranding Director's Cut is the definitive version of Kojima's polarizing masterpiece, adding new delivery tools, missions, and even a racetrack to an already dense and surreal open-world experience. You play as Sam Porter Bridges, reconnecting a fractured America through a mix of exploration, delivery, and haunting storytelling that blends science fiction with deep emotional resonance. It's slow and deliberate, but there's nothing else like it, and if it clicks with you, it'll stick with you for a long time. It's an 85 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and around 100 hours to platinum. For $58.49, Lies of P Overture Bundle gets you both the base game and the brand new Overture expansion, which adds more weapons, enemy types, and bosses to this already excellent Souls-like. Inspired by the Tales of Pinocchio, but twisted into a grim, mechanized world, the combat here is tight and stylish, with a customizable loadout system and great enemy variety. The Overture expansion deepens the lore and adds even more challenge, making this the best time to dive in if you haven't already. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and around 65 hours to finish the Platinum and Overture. 2 Point Museum is available for $23.99, and this new entry in the series takes the familiar sim gameplay into the world of museums, artifacts, and dinosaur exhibits. You'll manage curation, staff, and traveling exhibitions with the same charm and humor the series is known for, plus fresh features like rival museums and security challenges. The gameplay strikes a great balance between strategic depth and lighthearted fun, with plenty of creative freedom in designing your museum layouts and themed exhibits. Fans of 2 Point Hospital or Campus will feel right at home here, especially with the game's easy-to-learn controls and satisfying progression systems. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 2 out of 10, and about 100 hours to platinum. Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake is down to $38.99, offering a gorgeous modern reimagining of the classic RPG. Using the beloved HD 2D style from Octopath Traveler, this remake combines nostalgic pixel art with modern touches like full voice acting, smoother battles, and quality of life improvements that speed up the grinding and exploration. The classic turn-based combat and open job system remain intact, providing a deep strategic experience for veterans and newcomers alike. Whether you're new or returning, this is a fantastic way to dive into one of Dragon Quest's most iconic entries, blending old-school charm with fresh polish. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 60 hours to platinum. Disgaea 7, Vows of the Virtueless, is on sale for $47.99, packing in absurd stat scaling, tactical depth, and wacky humor. New systems like jumbification let your characters grow to massive sizes, while Hell Mode ups the challenge for veterans seeking a brutal experience. The story parodies samurai tropes while delivering classic Disgaea over-the-top gameplay, complete with a massive roster of characters and classes. With dozens of classes, tons of customization, and hundreds of hours of content including challenging post-game, it's a must for strategy RPG fans who love grind and depth. It's an 84 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 75 hours to platinum. Age of Mythology Retold is $20.99, bringing the RTS classic to PlayStation with updated graphics, fully reworked UI, and full controller support. Mix traditional base building with mythological units and god powers from Greek, Norse, and Egyptian pantheons, and you've got Age of Mythology. The UI redesign fits console play nicely, and the campaign covers the story of Arkantos with remastered audio and rebalanced gameplay. Unleash epic powers like lightning storms and earthquakes in a game that blends strategy and fantasy seamlessly, with solid skirmish and multiplayer modes adding plenty of replay value. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and about 60 hours to platinum. Age of Wonders 4 is $29.99 and perfect for fans of 4X strategy with tactical combat. Customize your leader and faction with unique traits, build sprawling cities, cast powerful spells, and lead armies across massive, procedurally generated maps. The Realm system offers modifiers that change gameplay drastically, keeping each run fresh and rewarding strategic experimentation. With empire management, diplomacy, hero progression, and tactical battles, it's a deep and rewarding experience that combines the best of strategy genres. It's especially satisfying for those who love layered gameplay and complex decision-making. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 70 hours to platinum. Dragon Quest Builders at $29.99 blends sandbox crafting and JRPG storytelling beautifully. Rebuild the world block by block, battling monsters and completing quests in charming, evolving environments. Each chapter introduces new blueprints, mechanics, and NPCs, keeping the experience fresh and engaging. The game's warm music and visuals evoke classic Dragon Quest charm, while its building system offers satisfying creativity balanced by structured objectives. It's a great choice for players who want a more guided sandbox adventure with plenty of freedom. It's an 83 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 30 hours to platinum. Tales of Grace's F Remastered is $25.99 and features fast-paced, fluid combat with the ability to switch styles mid-fight for tactical variety. The story hits classic JRPG beats, but offers heartfelt character moments and surprisingly mature themes. The remaster includes sharper visuals, improved performance, and the extended future arc for extra content. Fans of the Tales series will appreciate the fluid battle system, rich character interactions, and vibrant world that bring the journey to life in a fresh way. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and about 120 hours to platinum. Assassin's Creed Shadows is $52.49 and set in feudal Japan with dual protagonists, a stealthy shinobi and a fierce samurai. The game leans into deliberate stealth and action, with dense, reactive environments and dynamic weather adding immersion. The setting is beautifully realized, from snowy mountains to bustling towns, and fans of the newer Assassin's Creed formula will feel right at home with how much side content and exploration you can do. If you love the series or are intrigued by Japan's history, it's a must-play. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 3 out of 10, and about 70 hours to platinum. Helldivers 2 at $31.99 is a chaotic, cooperative shooter emphasizing tactical teamwork and friendly fire that punishes the careless. You'll call down orbital strikes, pilot mechs, and tackle challenging objectives with your squad across diverse alien planets. The developers' consistent updates have improved balance and content, making this a highly replayable experience. It's got that Starship Troopers vibe, but with a satirical edge, perfect for players who enjoy coordinated multiplayer chaos and fast-paced, punishing action. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 6 out of 10, and about 75 hours to platinum. A Plague Tale Requiem is $23.99 and continues the emotional, narrative-driven journey of Amicia and Hugo in plague-ridden medieval France. The sequel expands environments, stealth options, and puzzle variety while deepening the story's emotional impact. Gorgeous visuals and haunting sound design elevate the experience, making it one of the most memorable narrative games recently. The dynamic interplay between light and shadow adds tension to stealth sequences, and the rat swarms create genuinely tense moments. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 25 hours to platinum. Atelier Sophie 2, The Alchemist of the Mysterious Dream is $29.99 and is a charming and accessible JRPG with a strong focus on crafting, alchemy, and character interactions. Sophie's dreamlike adventure features turn-based combat, deep synthesis mechanics, and a whimsical art style. It's a welcoming entry for newcomers and a solid continuation for fans, perfect for relaxing sessions with plenty to discover in its cozy world full of secrets and surprises. The alchemy system is particularly rewarding, encouraging experimentation. It's an 82 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 4 out of 10, and about 60 hours to platinum. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is $48.99 and revives the Budokai Tenkaichi style with a massive roster, destructible arenas, and cinematic transformations. The gameplay balances accessibility with depth, making it fun for casual and competitive players alike. It's a true love letter to Dragon Ball fans, packed with fan service and polished mechanics that capture the anime's energy and intensity. From beam struggles to dramatic supers, the game delivers excitement and nostalgia in equal measure. It's an 81 on Metacritic, trophy difficulty around 5 out of 10, and about 30 hours to platinum. If you've made it this far, thank you. Seriously, this was a monster sale with a ton of great stuff to cover, and I hope this video helped you find something new to play or reminded you of something you've been meaning to grab. Definitely let me know in the comments if you ended up picking up any of the stuff I covered. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Seriously, you just listened to me talk for over an hour and a half if you watched the whole video. Leave a like, all that good stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. And by next one, I mean the one coming out later today, since the second half of the summer sale is starting, so I'll see you then.